volleyball and coach of the Highlander volleyball team, Rebecca Erickson and a fly, joining us here. Coach, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, coming off a win, a much-needed win for this volleyball team just to get into that side of the column for you guys.
About time.
It's been a while.
Long overdue.
But they played well. Grand Forks Central, a scrappy team, but that was that second set. I think you had a lead. They came back, tied it. Did you kind of expect them to be scrappy last night?
Yes, because last year we did not expect it, and they beat us in 5. I think we got a little too comfortable last night, and we let them creep back in when we shouldn't have. But I told the girls, a win's a win. I don't care. We won. That's what we needed, and we can only move on from here.
And it was a 2-pointer.
2-point game, yep.
So that helps.
Yeah, it helps significantly. We'll take anything we can get.
You need all wins, but 2-pointers are big ones. And so now with that win last night, one of the things I've noticed here recently, looks like maybe I'm a novice now, obviously. I don't know. You might know it differently. Serve, receive, at least serving. Do you feel that that's there or that's something you can still improve on?
You know, I think serving is there for us. I feel like we're a pretty strong serving team, but we have been missing at crucial points in the game. We miss after a timeout. We miss after the other team goes on a 4-point run. We get the ball back, and then we miss a serve. So the one thing we've started to focus on is just get the ball over the net. At a crucial point, just serve it over the net, and then we win that point, we can build off of that. But we go back and we just crank it over the net, goes to the back wall. That does no good for us.
Now, you run a 6-2 offense. You got a couple of setters, and they both seem to bring something different to the table. But do you like this rotation with this group you have right now?
Yeah, we actually just made one change, and I think it's helped significantly. We've moved our libero to the left back now, and we've put our outsides in the middle back position. And we have noticed that making that little switch, we're getting more digs, which means we're keeping balls off the floor, which is good. And I mean, we like it so far, and we're going to stick with it this weekend. We've done it for 2 matches now, and I think it's really working for us, and I think it was a good change. And if we can just fix one little thing at a time, I think it'll all finally click.
You may have someone that wears a libero jersey, but everybody in that back row is a libero, in a sense.
In a sense, yep.
They're a defensive player to get that pass. You can't get in your offense if you don't get that first pass.
Correct, yep.
And that's the crucial part. Now, as you look towards this weekend you got the Fargo tournament that's going on Friday and Saturday. Obviously, win as much as you can. But what is your mindset as a coach as you go into a tournament where you're going to see a lot of matches, some different teams? I think Sioux Falls, Washington, and Kindred are in your pool that you'll start off with here on Friday. What kind of a mindset do you have as a coach heading into this weekend?
I think we just need to take it one game at a time. One match at a time, and we will worry about the team when we get to them. Because, I mean, you can't do a whole lot of scouting. Like, we can't. I watched Kindred a little bit at the tournament here in town, and we haven't played Cheyenne yet. They're also in our pool, and then we definitely haven't seen anything from that Washington team. But we know from the years past they're a very well-rounded team. So I think we just need to take it one game at a time and see what happens.
You had an injury that happened here a little while ago when Bailey LaRue went down. So now Dakota Putratz, Katie Birchall kind of come in. You can see that they're young and learning, but have they helped you a little bit in that front row since they have come on?
They have, because we don't have a whole lot of depth on our team, and, you know, they've really stepped up when we've needed them, and, you know, it's unfortunate that Bailey's out for the season, but we're lucky that they've been able to fill that role for us.
And only 2 home matches left, which is hard to believe that we're getting to that point in the season. Are you looking at next week? Are you worried about this weekend right now?
You know, we've kind of talked about it because next week we're on the road, and I think we have a big weekend. We have a lot of matches this weekend, and next week we'll worry about it next week. I have looked ahead at Fargo South because that is a game that we need to win, essentially, and this is the kind of the turning point in our season where we can either climb back up or we're going to stay where we're at. And I mean, I'm hoping we can climb up and make some changes.
And I think I can't remember if it was a 5-setter with South there, but you had the one set that was like 33-31. Neither team wanted to win. It just was back and forth.
We just could not finish the match, and we've talked about that. That's one of our biggest things is we play well, but we just cannot finish. And I think Fargo South was a very winnable match for us. And, I mean, we lost 15-13 in the 5th set. I mean, what can you do? But I hope it's a different outcome when we play them at home.
You mentioned that you kind of don't know. You're not finishing matches. we've seen glimpses. I've seen glimpses watching that these girls know what they can do when they do it. You're just waiting for that one night when it all clicks. And that's the night that you can just sit there and you and Vanessa and your coaching staff can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the match, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We always talk about the Davies coach because every time you see her, she's always like, well, she's not Red River. But she's always relaxed like this. I'm like, wow, how can you coach and be so relaxed? Yes.
Carolyn Olson is who we're talking about, who's kind of been the dean of Class A coaches in North Dakota for a lot of years. But again, a nice win last night, a 2-point win for you, Coach, and now it's on to this week. And I think Davies is the site, at least for you guys, on Friday for your pool play. Kindred, Cheyenne, and Sioux Falls, Washington, and just see what happens after that. But again, keep it moving, really. That's the bottom line. Just one match at a time, one set at a time, one serve at a time has to be your mindset right now, isn't it?
Well, and we have nothing to lose. I mean, we're in the same spot we were last year. Teams come in and they're like, oh, well, we beat them last year. Well, we have nothing to lose. So you're ranked above us. If we beat you, good for us. If you lose to us, that's bad for you. So, yep, nothing to lose, one game at a time. All
right. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us again. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
That is Coach Rebecca Erickson joining us. We'll be back with more of our Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network on this now rainy Wednesday night. Now we'll step into the football world and joined by one of the seniors for the Highliners, Christian Butler. Buddy, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Doing all right. And I guess the first question for you as a senior now, Christian, and it's kind of hard to believe that your final year wearing Highliner blue is here.
Yeah, I mean it's a little surreal. Got up on me real quick. You know, being like back in 7th grade and looking up at the seniors and like now being one of them, it's like really hard to believe.
Are you kind of taking a leadership role with some of the younger guys as well?
Yeah, you know, like there's some times where like you knock them down, you got to pick them back up, and it's like, well, in their games, you don't really want to be coaching them up, but in the next day, you like tell them maybe be more explosive on this, or you know, stay your gap on like when you're on D-line and stuff like that.
And now this year you're kind of learning that new position at the center position. Would you say the center, you're kind of the captain of that offensive line, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yelling out blocking schemes, just kind of making sure the other 4 guys on either side of you are in tune with you.
Yes.
How is that? It looks like the process is getting better here as you've gone on now 6 games under your belt. Do you feel you're really getting hang of that center position?
Yeah. Well, last year was center, but it was under center snaps.
Okay.
So that was, you know, easy to dive into. But now we've got the shotgun snaps, so, you know, now I'm just worried more about the snaps first and then the block. Because there'd be times where, like, I'd raise my butt and then it'd just sail. So you got to worry about getting the snap first, and the block will just take care of itself.
And that's something we talked about too, Travis, is you go ahead and try to bend over and hike something between your legs without looking,
Yep.
You know, getting an idea. He's kind of somewhere back there behind me, and you got somebody snorting, bad breath in front of you that wants to knock your block off. But you, as a coach, you've seen some improvement in Christian at that position.
Yeah, and he works at it every day. I mean, pre-practice, he's out there snapping all the time with Bryson or whoever's going to catch it. And it's hard, right? Because he's got to snap a ball backwards, so his hands got to go backwards, but his feet got to go forward, right? And so it's difficult without a guy in front of you. And then you put a guy in front of him, and that, like you said, he's ready to run him over, basically, and then let alone if a blitzing backer's coming up. And so, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on our center. There's no doubt about it. And Christian's done a great job with it. He really has.
I know, Christian, with senior night, we talk, you always ask, favorite football memory. Well, I know what one is for you now, at least it is for me. That's the homecoming game against Horace. You get your big mid up there and knock down the last second pass and preserve that win. How did that feel to just to get that homecoming win? And you're knocking down that pass was probably one of the biggest reasons.
Oh, that did feel really good. That felt great. I mean, getting pressure from the nose guard position is hard to do a lot of times. And so, being able to just get close enough to knock it down, it felt really good afterwards.
Too bad it didn't go straight up. You can catch it and run it in for a pick six at the end of the game.
Oh, I've dreamt about that so many times.
Well, you still got a few more games that could happen there, big guy. Just that will happen eventually. Well, Travis, here last Friday night, it's talking about homecoming, Wahpeton's homecoming game, a tough 2-point loss. Just your thoughts on this Wahpeton game last week.
It wasn't our best game overall. Coaching, playing, and I told the players, I lost that game. That was all on me, 100%. Because defensively, we played lights out. We had a couple mistakes out there. There's no doubt about it. But, my job is to put them in a position to win. And I didn't do that, right? I put them in a tough position. And so it didn't come out on top for us, So we regrouped. We talked about it. And we had a great practice this week. You forget about those things, just like anything else. Things are going great. We got to forget about those things too. Things are going bad. We really got to forget about it. But we talked to him about, hey, are we all in? Are we still in this together? And it was yes, So we just move on.
Players aren't the only ones that learn at games. Coaches learn too from game to game.
Oh, without a doubt, right? What we can do, what we can't do. Yeah, you learn on a real quick.
One of the positives I saw with this Wahpeton game, the running game with Caden Amon and Carter Borg, I think combined around 200 yards. Your ground game really looks strong.
Yes, they did a really nice job, and it was something all week, and especially at halftime. I called out the old line. Hey, we're putting it on you guys. And they responded. So it was awesome to see, right? It's really fun calling plays and just say, all right, run right, run left. We'll run right again, and the O-line just was pushing. And so it was nice to see that.
Is this running game going to help open up the passing game again if you can continue to do this?
Yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And that's the idea behind it, right? Try to run the ball, get them guys to get some more people up on the line of scrimmage so it's a little easier to throw the ball.
Well, now this week, Jamestown coming in, or going out. You're heading to Jamestown for the Iron Helmet game. And Christian, last time you'll be nose-to-nose with the Blue Jays, too. Just your thoughts getting ready for Jamestown this Friday night.
I mean, it's a big week, rivalry week.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell, like, in the locker room, in the huddle, like, this one's a little different. We really want to win this one, like, not only for playoffs, but also, like the rivalry.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone's taking practice super seriously. Also, coming off, like, the loss, everyone's really locked in this week.
And too, Coach, they are too. They're coming off a loss to Dickinson, so they're not going to be slouch here this weekend.
No, it's going to be a hard-fought battle. It's going to be a bloodbath out there. It really is, right? It's just going to be let's line up and play football. I was teasing some friends of mine. I said it's probably going to be a fast game, so better tune in real fast because it's just going to be line up and play. And both teams do like to pass, but I think it's whoever wins the run game is going to be the one that comes out on top. It's the more aggressive team wins, without a doubt.
It seems to me, and I'm not just saying this because I got a lineman here, and I think you like coaching linemen too, Coach. But it's win or loss at the line of scrimmage, isn't it?
Yeah, I say that to everybody, right? Our O line will dictate how we move the ball, and our D line will dictate how we stop the ball. And if they're playing well, then everything else is easier. right? So our linebackers can run free. Our safeties don't have to cover as long because our D-line's putting pressure on the quarterback. And if our running back doesn't get touched 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, well, it's pretty easy now.
Yep.
You know, and so our O-line, D-line dictates it. They really, really do. The rest is just, you know, frosting on the cake for everybody else to see other stats. But it's the O-line, D-line that does the work.
For you, Christian, too, emotion. Football's an emotional game. I mean, you need emotion really to get out there, and a lot of times coaches might have to do rah-rah things, but for you guys, not just Jamestown, but you don't really need rah-rah speech for this Friday night, do you?
Wait, what was that?
Well, you don't need a big speech. You guys, you guys are going to be fired up. You've probably been fired up for 3 days already, and you wish the game was tonight. But it's just one of those games where you don't need to have a fire lit under yourself.
No, I mean, fire's been lit against Jamestown ever since we got in this school.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'd still be nice to have a nice speech.
Exactly. And emotion too. We talk about emotion, Travis. You want to be emotional, you want to be aggressive, but you got to kind of hone that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You know, I don't know how many times I've said it, probably too many for the players to hear, but you can't ride a roller coaster when you play football. Yeah. You know, you can't be so high and then all of a sudden you go so low. You got to try to find that even keel and just stay there the whole time. It's great that we scored a touchdown. Next play's the extra point. Next play's kickoff, right? Next play's 1st and 10. So you got to forget about it. And that's tough, right? Especially a game like this week. We score. We're excited. It's an awesome feeling. Let's move on. We've scored before, right?
Yeah.
And we've stopped other teams from scoring, so we've been there, done that type deal. So let's move on to the next play. So that's really what we try to do so we don't get too high or too low.
I think Bud Grant had that mantra, act like you've done it before.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's probably where I stole it from, you know. And so that's exactly what it is.
Well, Christian, again, getting ready to wrap up. We're not going to be wrapping up your career. You got a lot of games left in number 79, but just ready to get after it here this week. What do you think is going to be key for you guys to get by Jamestown on Friday night?
I mean, I think offensively, not wasting downs. I mean, that was a lot of what Wahpeton's problems were, whether it was like not picking up just one guy on the D-line, and then that can cause a TFL, or maybe passes falling, and then that can just completely halt drives right there. So, I mean, you just got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone as many times as possible.
Sounds like a future coach here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did good. I got nothing to say.
And I'm not going to ask you.
Ditto.
Just ditto. Same as just what he said, and might put a loop on it. Yeah. Well, Christian, again, thanks for joining us, and congratulations so far, and look forward to see you here in the next few games on Friday night against the Jays.
I appreciate it.
Coach Engen, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again.
All right, thanks.
You bet. Coach Travis Engen and Christian Butler, one of the seniors on the Highlander football team. We're back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and now we're talking Highlander cross country, and we're joined by junior captain Trevor Fetch and head coach Deb Bilkey. Guys, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Looks like you got done practice in the nick of time as the rain came. Trevor, as I mentioned there, captain, junior, you're what, 5 years, 6 years now that you've been on the cross country team. Have you really felt you needed to take a leadership role as one of the old men on this team?
Yeah, especially because this year's group, there's not a lot of older people on the team. It's a lot of younger people. So I just feel like being a good role model for the younger kids and being nice to everyone so that everyone likes being there and isn't just not wanting to be there every day, because otherwise that can make it tough.
And you didn't have Corbin for a couple weeks as he was out with COVID, so you were the old guy. You were the senior, if you will, on the team. And how do you, when you work with these younger runners, and I'm sure boys and girls, because you got a couple of sisters on the team too, but how would you coach them? What are some of the conversations you guys have? Anything in particular? Maybe a course, if you've been on a course before they haven't. How would your conversations go with these younger players or runners?
Sometimes before meets, like if it's a course I've ran before, like they'll be asking what it's like and if there's hills or not, and I'll just like tell them about that. And then at practice, sometimes it can be like about, you got this, like keep running. And sometimes it'll just be about stuff that isn't related to running and just like talking while we're running on an easy day.
And he having a veteran like this, and you've got with Corbin and with Trevor, runners that have been with you for 5, 6, 7 years. How easy is it for you as a coach too to have a team that's got some veterans on it?
It's really nice to be able to rely on them because they know the sequence I go through. I change up things every once in a while, but it's pretty much the same thing. They know the expectations from me and what I expect out of them. And sometimes they take care of the dirty work. They know what's supposed to happen, and so they'll make sure that they behave or different things like that because they're still young. They're learning their roles.
And normally when I have if I have a senior in the chair, I talk about the last year, but you got another year of cross country to go to, Trevor. But I mentioned Addison and Cadence, your two sisters. What's it like now being a big brother and having a couple of sisters on this team?
I don't know. It's like you'd think it would be a lot different, but it's really not that different. It just like feels like they're my teammates when we're at cross country and like less of siblings. But then like as soon as we're in the car going home, we're just siblings again. But like sometimes it'll feel like siblings. Like I'll just be talking to Cadence about something else that isn't about cross country or Addie.
So the dinner table isn't a cross country conversation.
Sometimes, but not
all the time. The other things in cross country but is it fun though to have a couple of sisters on the team too for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's like you always have someone to talk about like the practice that happened that day and they understand, or like the race that just happened, and like they'll understand like how hard running is, and you can always talk to someone about it, so that's nice.
And it helped when you like your sisters too.
Yeah.
Because I know if I had my sisters, it's like I don't like you. Don't talk to me. Go away. But and I mean I'm being facetious, but at the same time, family is big with you and with the Fetches. So it's kind of nice having the sisters to go through this journey with, if you will.
Yeah.
And Coach, and for you, you got 3 siblings on there, and you kind of just do they have different styles? Are they 3 different kinds of individuals?
It's kind of like what Trevor said when they're in practice. I really don't think of them as brothers and sisters because they're just athletes out there competing. And it is fun to, notice that tradition carries on. They actually have a little brother that has run a mile in some of the elementary races too. So there's some days that all 4 of them have run. So it's kind of cool.
Well, speaking of elementary, of course, we had the blue and white here a couple of weeks ago, and the elementary kids. It was kind of an icky day, if memory serves, for that blue and white. But how did you feel things went overall on your lone home meet of the year?
We really didn't get rain until 9 that morning.
Okay.
And so, the course was sloppy, but like I tell the kids too, it's sloppy for everybody. And so you compete the best you can in the conditions, because we went from that race to a 90-degree day almost right after that we competed in. And at state it might be snowing. So it just prepares the kids that, you're going to be ready for whatever conditions are out there. And you can't use those conditions as an excuse. Yeah. You just go out and run, you compete, everybody's competing on the same course. And by the time the JV boys ran that 4th race, it was pretty sloppy, and you could see some of them had wiped out, and and some of them I think they did it on purpose. But I think it went really well for the conditions that we had.
And those elementary kids getting a chance to run that mile race and run through the inflatable and just have that opportunity to be around the older kids is a big part of the whole race, isn't it?
Yeah, we had close to 100 young kids. We didn't know how many would show up after it had kind of dumped on us at 9 o'clock because the race was at 10:30. And we had, I counted them, we had right around 100 youth that ran, and most of them ran the full mile that we had out there. They came back a little sloppy, but they really enjoyed it.
They had a reason to play in the mud.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How was that running for you running on that day?
It was weird because that was my best race of the year so far, and I don't know. For me, it just any day can just be a good day or bad day. The weather doesn't really make that big of a difference.
I was going to say, if you want it to rain, we can make sure it's raining every time you guys have a meet. Last time out up in Grand Forks at a border battle, a lot of different schools, Minnesota, South Dakota, I think was Canada. I don't know. They had some teams down there. What was that? I'll ask you first. Running against teams you've never seen before, or does it matter for you?
It was just like it doesn't really matter to me the teams we're running against, but just like the amount of people that were there. There was just huge races. Like the JV boys had like over 400 people in their race, like
wow.
The biggest race of the year, and it's just like crazy to think that many people can even be in one race.
And you too, as a coach, to see this, they're seeing all different kinds of runners as well.
Just that whole atmosphere was fun for the kids because, you know, sometimes you go to a meet and you run by yourself, but these kids never had to run by themselves, and there were so many people cheering on. And up at Grand Forks at Lincoln Park, it's a great course for spectators because you can go from, they do a bunch of loops or zigzags, and then you can see them a lot of times. And so these athletes were always around people cheering them on. And there were 10 different races and pretty close to 1,800 runners crossed the finish line that day. Yeah.
And Reagan, second in the girls' 5K, but a new PR for her.
Yeah, she tried something new that day. She basically set the tempo for the whole race. She wanted to go out faster, and it worked for her. She got beat by a girl that has won state twice in Class B. And so it was a great challenge for her. And then there was a pretty good gap between her and the next person. So, yeah, she ran solid. A lot of the athletes ran really solid. It got to be kind of warm that day. But, they ran some good races. And what's nice about that is we're going to turn around in 2 weeks, and that's where the EDC course is. So the kids like the course because it's flat.
And Corbin, it was his first race after being out for 2 weeks. And how do you feel he ran?
He ran well. I mean, they all ran pretty solid. We had one 7th grader, Bryson Berg. He got 22nd out of 140 7th graders. So, yeah, he PR'd by 11 seconds. So, you know, there's stories like that with a lot of the athletes. Little sister, Addie Fetch, she also PR'd, and she's really enjoying the season for a girl that didn't like running on day one.
Didn't like running on day one.
No, I use this all the time. She was a kid that asked me, does anybody really like to run? And so I told her it was my goal that I was going to encourage her and really get her to like running. After her first race, I asked her if she enjoyed it, and she goes, yeah. Most times.
Most times.
But so, yeah, there's a number of stories like that, you know, kids are cutting off time and, you know, or they're close to their PRs because, like Trevor said, too, you don't know what's going to happen in that period of time when you start to you finish. You know, you might have a great race or you might get the side ache or you might get something else. But we try to take care of ourselves so the weather doesn't bother us. We can't control that, so.
Yep. What's coming up here this week now for the runners?
We have, on Friday, we're going to have our annual duel with Jamestown, which is a lot of fun for us. We go out to Parkhurst. And again, that's another chance for us to run on the state course without a lot of people around. We'll start at 2 o'clock with our 3K runners, and we run the boys and girls together.
Okay.
And then we separate them for places and times and stuff like that. And then after that, we'll run a 5K with the boys and girls together. And then, so it's a quick in and out, but right after that, Jamestown College has a meet there.
Okay.
And so some of the kids will end up staying because Avery Murray ran
Yep.
for us a couple years. She's running for Northern. She'll be running at 4 o'clock.
Okay. So you get a chance to see
Yeah.
one of the former runners. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
And then she's had done pretty well there with the Wolves, if memory serves.
she has.
She's had a really good year. I guess final question for you now, Trevor. Is you this a couple of weeks, 3 weeks left to go here in the regular season. What would you like to get? Anything you want to accomplish here in the final 3 weeks?
I just want to feel good when I run and have a few good races here and just try to finish the season strong, and that's it.
All right, Coach. How about you? Anything? And you guys really don't set goals, personal or otherwise. The kids may do it, but not you as a coaching staff.
Right. I guess our biggest goal is to have them performing at their best when EDC and state rolls around. And sometimes it's their best is they look good out there running. They're solid. May cut off a couple seconds here or there, but as long as they compete, that's the biggest thing is compete with whoever's out there at that given time.
Well, this weekend, again, they're doing it with Jamestown on Friday at Parkhurst, and it's getting down there. There's not much left in the regular season, and then it's EDC, and then the state going on in Jamestown. But Trevor Fetch, Jr., and Coach Deb Bilkey, guys, thanks for joining us, and go Twins.
Yes, we're maybe done by now, but I don't know.
We won't say anything yet. We won't say anything. Thanks a lot, guys, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Coach Deb Bilkey and Trevor Fetch from the Highlander Cross Country. We'll be back with Matt Nielsen and Highlander Tennis as Coach's Corner continues on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and on our final segment, tennis. And wow, Coach Matt Nielsen, postseason already?
Postseason already. Not only postseason already, but we already had our postseason game, which is on Monday. So we finished the regular season off last week. We played Fargo South, lost to them 4-5, and lost one of the matches. It went to a third set. Couldn't knock them off in that third set, and then we had the postseason 3-2 lineup on Monday. We were the 10 seed going against Fargo South as the 7 seed, and we guessed their lineup perfectly. We combated it perfectly, and we knew that our kids, we were still a bit of underdogs, but we had a shot, and we gave ourselves a shot in singles. Their 1 and 2 are really strong. Mm-hmm. So we went 2, 3, 4 against them, hoping our number 4 could knock off whoever they put there. So Kellen played at 1 against a really good player, and Colin played at 2 against a really good player. And so we were 0-2 to begin the match, but then Quinn was our number 4. They actually put their number 3 there, and Quinn got that victory. 8th grader Quinn did. So we're at 1-2 at that point. And then we went to something really weird. We put Miles Taylor, our number 1. He's a junior, with 8th grader Emery Olson, who we haven't put in a doubles match all year long. But we knew that Emery could hit balls back, so we actually used a strategy called 2-back.
Okay.
So when Emery was supposed to be the net person, nope, he was just back with Miles, and they just rolled. It was 6-0, 6-2, and they won that match. So we're at 2-2, and it came down to our number 2 doubles match, which going into the match, I think both coaches looked at that going, that's going to be
Right.
That's going to be the one, and we ended up winning that first one. In the second set, the other team got a little bit they got a little hot, and then we kind of got on our heels. But in that third set, like it was so tight, and then the Fargo South team did a good job of competing hard on those deuce points and playing a little more loose than we did on deuce points, and didn't end up winning that one. But we ended up 2-3, and I think a lot of people, if they looked at our team coming in, we just had Miles Taylor coming back. Everybody else were JV players last year, and we competed hard this season, and it was a lot of fun to coach them. It was a lot of fun to watch them. And even though we only had one win on the season, we had 3 different matches where we lost by 1 match.
Yep.
So, I mean, yes, we had one, but we were competitive in all those. And even when we played Grand Forks Central, which is the number 2 seed, man, I had fun coaching them because they worked hard, they played hard, and each point was competitive. So even though we lost 0-9, it's fun to coach and fun to watch when every point is competitive.
When you have 2 back, you mentioned that's a strategic having the 2 back. Does that take away the net players of your opponent if they've got someone that likes to play at the net?
Well, if you had the way you got to play, if somebody plays 2 back against you, that net player needs to hit angles.
Okay.
They can't hit angles. If you just hit volleys forward, they're always going to get it back. So
Yeah.
I mean, at the level we were at, we figured that wouldn't have been a problem, and they weren't able to really angle their volleys away. So and Emery hits a good, solid topspin shot, and Miles hits hard. So we figured that playing against their number 4 and 6, that we figured that was going to be a pretty good matchup for us. And I mean, our kids executed very well. Like we didn't hit the ball out from the baseline, and then Miles did actually attack forward. So Miles would start back with Emery, but if Miles saw an opportunity, he actually went to the net and then took the point over.
Okay.
So they executed beautifully.
Now the individual portion of the EDC is coming up this weekend.
Yep. So since we lost on Monday the play-in, our team season's done, and the EDC team tournament is tomorrow in Fargo.
Okay.
So they'll play out to 1st to 4th state qualify. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow night, then I'll be in Fargo for the seeding meeting because we have the individual tournament on Friday and Saturday. So all the coaches, all 10 coaches get together, and we seed the top 10 singles, we seed the top 10 doubles, and then we just a random draw in for everybody else. And the only rule is you can't play your own school in the first round.
Okay.
So you can play your own school second round or consolation, but first round, if you get drawn against your own school, we redraw. So it's a random draw after 10. And then you play until you either on Friday until you made the semifinals, which is top 4, or you made the state qualifier on the back draw. So that's what you play to on Friday, and then Saturday is the state qualifiers right away in the morning, and then the placing matches after that. And the way we're going to roll is Miles decided to play singles, and I worked with him today, and man, it was a lot of fun working with him. He's very coachable, and I think just playing me kind of helped him out tonight because I talked to him between points of what I did and why, and what he did and what he should have done or what he did well. So we talked it through, and I think it just clicked with him, which I think at the beginning of the season it wouldn't have because he didn't have as much experience.
Okay.
But now that he's had the whole season, everything just clicked with him. So I worked with him today, and then Coach Eric worked with Kellen and Colin are going to be playing doubles. So they're our number 1 doubles team, so they work together. And then our other individuals that'll be playing is Quinn Kruger will play in another in the singles draw, and we'll have Cole Haugen playing in the singles draw. And then our second doubles team in the draw will be Matthew Holm and Emery Olson. So that'll be our draw coming up on Friday. And if it's cruddy weather, we'll play it all at Courts Plus. If the weather turns out to be okay, we'll play in multiple spots around Fargo.
Would they prefer to play outside because of the state tournament, or would because the state tournament is going to be in Grand Forks or in Minot?
It's in Grand Forks this year.
Okay.
I don't think my kids have a preference.
Right.
I'm trying to get them in the mind frame that conditions are the same for everybody.
Yep.
So, like wherever they tell you to play, like 'cause you don't get to pick. They tell you where to play, and I mean you can pick a little bit because at EDC we usually play doubles indoors. So if you're like, okay, I'll play doubles, but I've never had a kid who picked doubles because they wanted to be indoors.
Right.
They pick the one they want because they either love doubles or they love singles, and most people have a preference.
What would your players have to do? And Miles probably has the most potential to get to that state tournament, but what would they have to do to get to that next level?
So Miles today, I mean, we talked a lot about in singles, you need to hit a lot of good shots. You don't need to hit a great shot. And he executed that against me, and he actually beat me in a set today. So he beat me 7-5. And he did it by staying patient, and he didn't overhit. So he hit a nice one to my forehand side. I got it back to him. and then he either moved me around, and then he got a short ball, and then with the short ball, he didn't crush it. He just hit a solid one as an approach shot. He might have got a winner, or I might have got it back, and then he had a put-away shot. So he played very patient against me, and he played very consistent tennis with good shots. So if Miles is going to stay qualified, it's because he's going to be able to have the mind frame of, hey, I'm positive, I'm going to stay in this point, I'm going to play consistent, I'm going to play the good shot, I'm not going to try to hit the great shot. And I think that's what Miles needs to do. Kellen and Colin, those two, they need to stay energized, and they need to stay positive, and they also need to work on, they also need to play that good shot. When you're the person in the back, in doubles, you don't need to rip winners or hit the ball 100 miles an hour. You need to hit it cross court, or hit it not to the net player, or lob the net player. You don't need to hit it 100 miles an hour. So if they can play consistent from the back and play the good shot from the back and at the net, if they can attack as much as they can as the net player, they have a shot to win a match or 2 or 3.
And if they follow ACES, your mantra, and not your, but Highlander Tennis mantra, things will fall into place. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, you got next year too, and things are okay.
And I think the kids really like that. Like in our program, we stay positive and we control the things we can control. We work with them, and even after we had a tough loss against West Fargo this year. Even after that one, I really reflected on that one because they had a tough day. And I reflected on it, and I actually went through and I did my stats up to the year on that because I wanted to feel, because we had several losses moving up to that, so I wanted to feel that. So the next day I came in, I go, and I just talked about it. Hey, I know it's tough when you have so many losses and then you have a tough day. And I go, but you guys are doing a lot of great things, and we started focused on the positives that we accomplished for this season, how much they've gotten better. And once they hear that I didn't come in all upset that, oh my gosh, we laid an egg against West Fargo.
Right.
I came in going, I know you guys did everything you could in the moment. Like, we just need to figure out how in the moment we can push ourselves like, yeah, we're having a bad day. How can we still play good tennis even if you think you're having a bad day?
The future looks bright for boys tennis in Valley City.
It should be a lot of fun in the next many years. It should be fun because we will have everybody back next year. Plus, we have a couple sixth graders that are pretty dang good coming up, and then the following year we graduate Miles. But there's a bunch of fifth grade. I mean, we have a good crop of sixth and fifth graders coming up. Plus, we have Miles that'll be a senior next year. You have all these sophomores, freshmen, eighth graders we have now get another year experience and another year experience. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun coaching this group, and it's going to be fun following them.
And see how they progress in the next couple of years. The progression is always the fun part.
It is. It's always fun to see how these kids grow and grow and grow. And yeah, I mean, looking at all the kids, it's like I'm thinking of a Destiny Winkler from way back. I remember coaching her as a seventh grader, and seeing her blossom into a seventh grader that didn't have confidence on the court, that really couldn't hit a ball. She became an all-EDC player, helped our team go to state, and made the EDC championship doubles match. And I'm just like, that's what's amazing. So I mean, yes, the progression is very fun to be a part of.
Well, the next time we chat, we'll be wrapping up the tennis season and for the boys, and then we'll still have a few months, and then the girls will be getting started here when we get a chance to talk again, and that's going to be another exciting year when the girls get on the courts.
That'll be exciting too. But but hopefully we can get someone qualified for the boys
Yep.
here, and if we do, I'll have some excitement to talk about next Wednesday, and if we don't, I guess we'll do a season wrap.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Matt, thanks for joining us tonight.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Coach Matt Nielsen joining us from Highlander Tennis. We'll be back and wrap things up here in Coach's Corner from the Highlander Activity Center on the Highlander Activity Network. And we're back on the Highlander Activity Network on our final segment as we wrap things up. And, of course, we kind of let you know what's on the horizon. This is it for the rest of this week on the Highlander Activity Network. As volleyball is going to be on the road. Football, of course, on the road with Jamestown on Friday night. Volleyball will be in Fargo at Davies. Cross country is on the road this week. Next week, we'll be back on Monday night, our football coverage with the junior high as they take on Central Cass at Hannah Field. So we'll have a couple of junior high football games next week at 5 and 6 o'clock. And also, of course, next Friday night, the Highlander have their final home football game of the season, taking on Grand Forks Central 1 week from Friday. So that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Coach's Corner. We won't have a show next Wednesday night, but we will be back on October 18th with another Coach's Corner, and you can join us then. I want to thank our guests on tonight's program, Coach Rebecca Erickson from volleyball, Coach Travis Engen, Senior Christian Butler from football, and from cross country, Junior Trevor Fetch, Head Coach Deb Bilke, and Matt Nielsen joining us here tonight. Appreciate them. And, of course, Rain Nelson is our camera person and technical director here this evening as well. And, as always, we appreciate you, our viewers, those of you that watch us live on YouTube each and every Wednesday night, or you go back and watch it again and again. And just remember, just go to YouTube and tell all of your friends and relatives, just search Highlander Activities or Valley City Highlander Activities, and we've got everything we've done up till now archived. You can watch it live, or you can watch it over and over and over again. So we'll be back 2 weeks from tonight, October 18th, 6 o'clock. That'll be our next edition of Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.